my turn, like the host usually shares, so it's my turn to share. And I've also learned that when I'm doing photo editing, when I'm show a book or whatever, I never have a good shot of me showing off a book, so I'm going to be a buffoon and like smile to camera, every camera I see, just so that you know that it's the crazy stuff I'm going to be doing. But I've got 3 poems for you, and this is the closest thing I can think to the concept of the theme today for community. Excuse me. Sorry about the coffee. So I thought it would be something from the book, pheromemes. It's not really a word. But if you like somebody's pheromones, and you like somebody's memes, there's a pheromemes, and these were 2015, 2017 show quotes. It's a made-up word, but it seems, you can search for it, and this is the only thing you'll find if you look online for pheromemes. Anyway, so this is a poem that was from the show, it was from a show at the High Face Center, and because there's a bunch of different shows done over the years. And this poem, in pheromemes, oh no, I have to hold it again. Uh-oh, I have to hold it again.
Slow camera.
One day. Wow, after, as I had said, Louise learned this, I'm like, yes, you have to wait for a long time to make sure you get for camera. But this is a short piece that was from the show Akitu, and it is called Open Flame for the Celebration. Every year as the festival approached, I would go to the grounds to celebrate. I can still remember riding my roller skates down the streets after the afternoon shower and running my skates through the puddles in the middle of the street. This was a time for celebration. Then when the big day came, all the families would come together, bring food for the feast. Someone would roast a beast on a pit and spin in the open flame as more and more people would join in the festivities. And I would wear a bright dress and be skipping down the streets until it was time to come together to celebrate. And what a celebration it would be. And it was the one chance that everyone came together to be grateful for our abundances, to honor a higher power, and to just be happy that we can all have the chance to be together again. I think the theme for that one for you, but then I searched, I had to search for another one, and it has something to do with Georgetown, that's why I'm sharing it for today. This one is from a 28, 38, 48 series. It's chapter 48, volume 2. It is a bunch of different things from shows, performance art shows over the years, big old collection book. And I think I've said this before, but the reason why he's got a picture of Chicago in the air is because some of the shows are in Chicago, and then I love Chicago, and some of the shows are here in Austin. So this is my leaving by Chicago. So you took me out of cover. So anyway, but this was actually done at a show in Chicago, because I thought maybe it could work for every town, but I share it with you guys. This is called Returning to Georgetown. Everyone is so used to the noise, traffic rumbling down the roads, airplanes arcing overhead. But avoid what man has done, that human cacophony of clutter, and come over here instead. It almost seems like a sacred place. Stand still for the birds' symphony as they sing from the tops of the trees. Look over to the plants near your feet and catch the crickets' percussion. What is a car for when you have these? Look around and ask yourself, is there any place you need to be or anything else you'd rather do? Take a deep breath. You found that right here has everything you need. Welcome home. We've missed you. And because I've been writing something for every day of the year, I had to write because yesterday was George Washington's birthday. Yeah, well, and people were like, why do you even have a President's Day month? So that's because he didn't want to take days off for Lincoln and Washington. They just put them together so you have one day for it. But anyway, so I have a poem about George Washington for you. I hope you guys like it. And it is called, and you think I'd be reading this at Christmas time, because it's called Fighting for Freedom on Christmas. When these guys got together and wrote the Declaration of Independence, the British Empire didn't roll over and say, oh, okay, and let the United States of America do whatever they wanted. Just because we signed a paper saying we chose to be free from Britain, paper didn't mean anything to the British Empire. So they got ready to fight to keep their hold over us any way that they could. So, yeah, Britain came to fight. But since they were an empire and all, they'd employ some of the Hessians from Germany to do some of the fighting for them so they could cover all the bases. After months of fighting in 1776, George Washington's Continental Army was at a loss. It was approaching Christmas, and they stayed camped at the shores of the Delaware River in Pennsylvania. Hessians, German mercenary soldiers for the British Empire, were all across the river at Trenton, New Jersey, which stopped the Americans, who are now out of munitions. So, on December 23rd, Washington brought over Hugh Mercer, a Scottish general, and Governor Alexander Hamilton, and he says, the Hessians are going to be drunk and reveling on Christmas night, so that's when we'll attack. When they least expect it. But Mercer explained, wait, we don't have any munitions, which is when Hamilton said, that's why we attack then, to get their munitions. So Washington thinks, we've got 5,000 troops, we'll cross the Delaware, that's 300 yards. We'll get through the ice and we'll fight the British, who only have their hired German army. Now, Christmas rolls around and the Hessians are celebrating Christmas, which is when separate U.S. ships set sail. Those stuck on Mercer's boats think, there's too much snow, let's go back. Now, all Hamilton could think was, oh, we have to help Washington, even though his boat was, even though people on his boat balked, saying that there's too much snow, there's too much ice, it's just too cold. George Washington could only stress to everyone that we're crossing the Delaware River. There was no arguments. There was no argument with this man over this one. And maybe you've seen the painting of it, the crossing the Delaware, but it was much grimier and dirtier than that painting could ever possibly portray. There were 60, 70 mile per hour winds. Icicles were hitting their boat, which is made of like cheap pine and probably was barely holding up. And some of the soldiers even had towels wrapped around their feet because they had no shoes. The Continental Army fought the ice and snow to cross 300 yards of water to make it across the Delaware River. Then they crossed. The sun had already rose. They knew that they were actually late. The deadline was only in their minds, so they just survived this hell. So now their only thing they could think is, let's do this. And with that, they walked into Fort Trenton and they caught the entire Hessian military off guard. Washington ended up catching over 1,000 Hessians, and only 4 Continental Army troops died. They were looking back, and then they looked into a corner and they saw all these munitions. But added bonus, they also found in the corner a stash of rum. Added bonus indeed, they thought. So they got really, really drunk on their rum. And taking the Hessians prisoner back across the Delaware River, they were falling over drunk. I mean, falling out of the boat drunk. So much for the Continental Army is wearing towels for shoes, because at this point, the Continental Army is drunk and freezing from their ice-filled river ride. So, despite the pain, know that this was George Washington's first major victory in battle for his country. The country that he would later lead as its first president. A man we emblazon even on our dollar bills. And now we give so much credit to anyone who is elected president, but think of the battles that George Washington had to fight to get to that point, which was only the beginning. It was the beginning of everything that would define not only George Washington, but also him as a fighter and a leader, and what we define as a nation. And I could say for around the time that time would be up, but what I'm totally thinking I want to do, if I can pull this off, it won't be a group photo, but I want to go back. Da-da. Hello, can I get to go back? And see if I can, just because I've got this wig, can I get this shot? See how many people want to do this? Oh, I can do nice. See, I can reach you. All right, now everybody just scream like buffoons, because I can't do it. I have no idea if that'll work, but what?